Hello, welcome back to X Men Classics. Now, I just looked up online. Roy Thomas's run does not end with issue 42. It actually ends with issue 44. So I kind of exaggerated that. But in this episode, we're definitely going over issues 40 to 42. First up, issue 40, where apparently you have the X Men meet the Frankenstein monster. Basically, the issue starts out with some training in the Danger Room, like most of the X-Men issues did. And then everyone thinks they're and of course they all X-Men the male members act like goofballs, and apparently apparently Xavier's called them to the study. Apparently, the reason I call them to the study is because apparently they have found the Frankenstein monster. I'm shaking my head because I'm going to reveal why soon. They find him in Antarctica, in the Arctic Circle, basically North Pole, and the X-Men are sent out to stop him. Of course, he escapes from a ship he was on, so the X-Men are sent out to stop him, to stop him, whatever he's doing. So they travel to wherever this is. It's some museum. It's in New York, apparently. So the X-Men in their civilian clothes go to New York, and they encounter the Frankenstein monster. Yep. And they attack him, and the fight goes on for several pages. Of course, actually goes on for like 2 pages, and then they stop, and of course he gets away. The X-Men go out to hunt for him, and then they're gonna get a rematch with the Frankenstein monster. And then it turns out that the Frankenstein monster, when exposed to ice again, it turns out he's actually a robot. Yes, turns out that this Frankenstein monster is a bogus one. It's commonly referred to as the second Frankenstein monster, because he later revealed there really was a Frankenstein monster, but this is just an imposter. It's a weird issue. Then you have the continuation of the backup feature with the first immune. His name is Jack Winters, and his power is that his hands are basically diamonds. Yep. And apparently he's also a low-level telepath for some reason. Yeah. So basically you have people searching for Cyclops. They just wander around a bit, trying to wonder where they are. Of course, he breaks into some laboratory. Apparently he got his powers because of a laboratory experiment. So they kind of gave his origin story here. Apparently he can slice through metal. And apparently his nickname is the Jack of Diamonds. Whoopee. And of course the story ends with Cyclops meeting Professor Xavier for the first time along with Jack of Diamonds. Now comes issue 41. Probably the most weirdest villain I have ever seen. Grotesque. And by the way, this is his only appearance as far as I know. Yeah, so Grotesque just shows up, attacks some train. And then the X-Men attack him. He gets away. And then cuts away to Greenwich Village, home of Doctor Strange, where Beast is on a date with Vera. And and of course cuts away to Grotesque. Apparently he was suffering from amnesia, and then pretty much gives a 2-page origin story. Yep, a 2-page origin story of Grotesque. Apparently he was some king, and his civilization was destroyed. So, and then the X-Men goes, prepared to take him on again. They go through some series of drills, and then of course, it's just Cyclops, Marvel Girl, and Angel. I'll call it Marvel Girl because it's still in the era. And then for some reason, Beast and Iceman walk into the Danger Room in their civilian clothes. Despite the fact the X-Men officially graduated, they apparently get demerits for this. Of course, this is later. I won't spoil exactly at this point who this really is, but this is not Charles Xavier. yeah, he's acting weird. Yeah, so Jean Grey accompanies him to something, and some secret courses. This later gets revealed much later what happened to him. And of course, it cuts away to some laboratory. It cuts away to Archer College in Manhattan, where some argument between some professors are going on, and then Grotesque starts a tremor underneath the college. A tremor, and of course, he just walks around, climbs up. X-Men, and then X-Men are sent out to find him. And then the Grotesque brings in some laboratory. I'm not really enthusiastic about this issue because this issue is just okay, to say the least. Cycle Story is better. And of course, the issue kind of ends with basically Grotesque about to fight the X-Men. And we cut away to the I think it's supposed to be the Pendulum part for this particular story, where you have it's the origin of Cyclops, and of course you have Charles Xavier in a mental battle with Jack of Diamonds. He actually sort of loses, and of course he gets apparently he's worried about him, and of course they break in, and then of course they get away from Xavier. Xavier, of course, survives. Then they break into a cyclotron center. Jack of Diamonds kills a guard. Cyclops is worried about killing people, and apparently he turns on some radiation and becomes indestructible with Diamond. Xavier survives survives that, and of course Cyclops takes out a jeep. So they have guns. And of course, Cyclops talks to him for a bit, and well, Xavier talks to Cyclops for a bit, and of course the story ends with Jack of Diamonds becoming the Living Diamond. Yep. By the way, this backup story was better than the main story. And then we have issue number 42, The Death of Professor X. Reveal that later. So we have issue opening up with basically Angel and Iceman arguing over what happened the previous issue, and of course everybody thinks that, well, and of course nobody has pointed out yet this is not where Charles Xavier is acting out of character. Yes, and of course they get a rematch, and of course it cuts away to a rematch between Grotesque and Beast. And most of the issue is basically fighting the Beast or fighting Grotesque or cutting away to the Xavier Institute, or at least flashing back to it. And of course Grotesque attacks in place, and of course Xavier takes him on along with the X-Men. A fight that goes on for several pages until the first story ends with the apparent death of Charles Xavier. And of course we cut away to the final part of the origin of Cyclops, basically where it picks up pretty much right where the last issue left off. So you have Cyclops fighting the Living Diamond, and of course he has him sort of use the machine to kill him, because it's apparently the only way to stop him. So they defeat him in 2 pages. And afterwards he actually is feeling remorse for killing him, but Xavier said it was necessary because he was going to kill him before, so it's self-defense, not exactly murder. And then the story ends with Xavier and Cyclops. Well, Scott Summers never becomes Cyclops at the moment. He drives off to the Xavier Institute. Apparently they want to start off a new group, and they want to start up this group of mutants, and Cyclops is the first member. And then they have him try on his costume. For some reason, they have him wear the costume that they used from this, where they have the altered blue and gold costume for some reason. I don't really know why they have him wear that for. Maybe it's the artist, I don't know, because I remember that the yellow took a little more of the costume. And of course he tests out his new visor, opens up the front, and he shoots out his optic blast. Yep, shoots out the optic blast. Excuse me. And of course, next issue just deals with the origin of Cyclops Optic Blast. Well, what I think of these 3 issues? Well, the opening story for the issue 40 was really good. I enjoyed it. The Grotesque story was just boring at best, and of course you have Charles Xavier acting out of character. Nobody's pointed this out yet, but that's how Roy Thomas writes him. The backup story was actually much better in the other 2 issues, and of course you have Death of the First Evil Mutant. So basically, the Living Diamond predates Magneto. Yep. So I give issue 40 a 9 out of 10. It was actually a pretty decent issue. As for issues 40 and 41, this is the opening stories. I give them a 7.5. It was a really disappointing story, kind of boring. And Grotesque was kind of a boring villain as it is. The backup story overall, I give a 9 out of 10. It's a really good story to read. It's only 4 parts long, and I do recommend it if they actually... Well, this particular storyline is collected in not only in the Marvel Masterworks books, but also in the Central Classic X Men. Okay? So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which hopefully will probably go over issue 43, which will be episode 21, by the way. But until then, see you there. Bye.